morning. I'm Rowena Crosby.
And I'm Deborah Renner, and we're your co-hosts for this show. Thank you for joining us for the next 17 minutes for your IT show. Nope, we're not talking information technology. We're talking Your Invisible Toolbox, the show that examines the tools that are essential for working effectively with others.
We welcome you to today's pre-recorded broadcast. We had a calendar conflict, so we're not streaming live today. The subject of change is one of the most popular workshops at Tero. Why? There's nothing new about change. Change has been going on since civilization began. But what is new is the pace of change.
So today we're going to actually do an experiment with change. We're going to take a look at the research on why change is so hard and how we can prepare for it. And we're going to provide a development challenge that will allow you to be prepared for changes you might not even realize yet are coming your way.
And we'll invite you to get a pen and paper handy for a little experiment we're going to do later in the show. We are excited to present to you this new book. It's of the same name of the show, and we've been talking about it since we've been doing this program for 8 episodes. It's called Your Invisible Toolbox, The Technological Ups and Interpersonal Downs of the Millennial Generation. And it is now available on Amazon.com in both paper copy and in a Kindle format. And for those of you interested in actually connecting the book to the show, the tool we're going to explore today is number 77 in the book.
It's so great to have the book and the tool connected.
Yes.
Finally at that point. Well, we're talking about change, and change happens so regularly in the natural world, especially this time of year with storms. We might see trees down. We experience the loss of what the landscape doesn't look like anymore. And yet change, and that change, offers new possibilities, new opportunities for what the landscape will become.
And along those lines, futurist Joel Barker posed the following question. He said, which plant species is best positioned to take advantage of the prime real estate that becomes available when a tree falls in the forest and the canopy is open to new sunlight? According to Barker, the common thinking was that the most competitive plants would prevail. But research has revealed, as it often does, that thinking has to be challenged. It isn't the most competitive plant that wins the spot. It's the plant that's best positioned when the opportunity presents itself. That's the one that gets the battle for the coveted niche.
That makes so much sense, because if it were just the competitive plant, we would have a forest with the same species.
Mm-hmm.
But a fragile plant can actually find the niche to be able to grow. And diversity just in nature and in business is so key. And if we think about it, the same thing can happen to businesses. They can find that niche in those times of opportunity as well.
And change will often reveal that. So this insight from the natural world is both exciting news and a little concerning news. It's exciting because the changes that come up can present an opportunity for us. And it's concerning because it shows that market leadership can be short-lived if we're not prepared for the changes ahead.
And how quickly are these changes happening? If we think of high-tech industries, changes are happening every month, every year. Other industries, though, are also faced with change. Even an industry that would be more stable in terms of what we would think it would be impacted by with regards to change, like the funeral industry. If we think of the outside things that are impacting that, the way we memorialize our loved ones is changing, is very different. We might be doing that via video. And so there are different changes that are happening even to industries that aren't in what we would think of as changing contexts.
And upsetting business models. So everything is changing. Are you positioned to take advantage of the opportunities that change presents? Let's take a look at our invisible tool of the week.
Well, according to Gallup, 87% of millennials are valuing professional development as part of their job.
87%. And that's an especially impressive number when you consider that only 69% of non-millennials say the same thing. And this interest in professional development may be the single biggest differentiator for millennials in the workplace. Why is that? Well, the desire to learn and grow probably equips them to be able to take advantage of changes and opportunities. They may already be using our invisible tool of the week. Are you?
So professional development is a differentiator. Let's take a look at it. This is our experiment. You've got your pen. Grab that pen and that piece of paper and write your name. Sign as if you were signing a contract or a check. Take a moment and do that. All right, that probably felt like it always feels when you sign your name, but now put that pen in the other hand, write your name again, and write your address as well. Are you feeling that that's taking you a little bit longer? Maybe you're not as efficient in doing it, and it probably looks a little awkward.
Yeah, like a little person did it.
Yes.
Like a child did it. And did you notice what you were doing during that activity beyond just doing the task itself? When you're asked to sign your name, you just pick up the pen and sign it. You do that mostly unconsciously. But when you're challenged to change hands, all of a sudden you start maybe laughing, muttering to yourself, maybe complaining to others, and it takes longer and the work isn't as good.
Well, one of the challenges is that the changes that we introduce in organizations to individuals are to increase productivity and efficiency.
Yes.
And yet in the short term, when we're initiating the change, productivity actually goes down, frustration actually goes up, and so we don't get those immediate results.
So writing with the other hand is a little bit like what change feels like. And we do these things unconsciously. Research is interesting on this subject. It says we spend about 85% of our day operating unconsciously. They're not talking about that clinical state of unconsciousness. What they're talking about is operating out of habit. And these habits serve us well because we can do a couple of things at the same time. When they're habitual, we can listen and take notes at the same time, which allows us to be productive. But when changes happen, we have to become conscious. That 85% number, does that sound right? Think about how you start your day. Rolling out of bed, unconscious. Getting ready for work, unconscious. Most of us driving to work, unconscious, until we have to wake up to a change.
And that is the background on our invisible tool for this week. We may not know what the changes are that we're going to face, but by learning something new every day, we prepare ourselves to be able to navigate through change. And that's our tool, to really take a moment and learn something new every day to prepare. In this show, we usually, right now, highlight 2 social media posts. Instead, today, we're going to issue a development challenge. We're going to challenge you to challenge your habits and do something new every day.
And you're tuned into this program, so that means that you're already interested in professional development, and we congratulate you for that. It means you're starting out your week by doing something important for your career. Now, our development challenge is to try to turn that into a habit, to not just do it one day every week, but to make a habit of learning something new every day.
How active are you on social media? We know it's tough for organizations and individuals to figure out how to effectively use those platforms. At Tero, we made a strategic decision as a company that we were going to use those platforms to further learning, because that goes with the things that we believe in here at Tero.
Absolutely. And so the development challenge is to do the Learning Minute Challenge, is what we call it. Spend at least 60 seconds every day making a new habit of learning something new. And one of the resources that's available to you if you enjoy watching this show is Tero's social media platforms, where there's links every day to a variety of things that take just a minute to learn something new.
And if you're not on social media, no worries. You can actually access all of our platforms by just going to www.tero.com. The icons at the top of the page, you can click on any one of them, will be directed to that learning moment.
And no passwords required, no
Nothing.
signing in. It's
Very
just
easy.
resources for you. Well, this is the segment of the program that we called This Week's Interview. And today we're very excited to welcome Kyle Plummer as the interview. He's coming out from behind the camera to come and sit in front of the camera. He's the architect of the direction and filming of this show. He's also the architect of Tero's social media platforms. We're going to talk to him a little about the changes that he's seen in his own industry, as well as the resources available to help you learn something new.
Hello, Kyle.
Hello.
Oh, we're so great.
How are you doing?
Great to have you on this side
Thanks
of the
for
camera.
joining us. Yeah, welcome to the dark side.
It's certainly different.
Well, we're thrilled that you're out here and that we can have a chance to talk to you today. We're talking about change, and when we think about you and your role at Tero, it has really changed, and you've adapted over the time that you've been here. Can you fill our viewers in a little bit on what your role is and how that has changed?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first started at Tero, it was more of a I was just getting started, and so I was doing a lot of data entry, I was doing production work, I was doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and it really gave me a foundation for understanding who Tero was and our philosophies and what we believe in. And so that was able to kind of transition me into what became this long train of learning new things.
And change, yes.
And the first thing I started to do was social media. And I didn't know how to do that from a business perspective. It was a whole new ball game for me. But I started to learn that. I felt like I got comfortable with that. And the second that happened, then the website came. And so I took over the website, learning coding, learning content on there, and how to source things. And that was a whole nother challenge. And then we stepped into, and it's funny because Jeanette Larkin came on last week, and she came in. I'd never met her before, and she was like, "So did they bring you on to do this whole video stuff?" And I was like, "No, I had no idea how to do it. We just kind of figured that videos that's where we need to be." And so I started to take on that challenge, which was a little out of my element, but I felt like I'm getting more and more comfortable with it, and I just know down the road there's going to be another thing that you're going to throw me that I'm not going to know how to do. You're masters at that.
Well, and you just acquire the skills and challenge yourself to learn, and so the results are very clear.
Really coordinates with what we're talking about today. And it's one of the beauties of working for an organization like Tero. You get to try those things and achieve them. Well, marketing for our social media platforms has really been about learning and presenting things for follow-up or for people to access for learning. So how is that different? How has that changed over time? How do you look at marketing in general?
Yes, and we fit very well into how marketing is today, or what you should do in marketing. And traditionally it was very much sales oriented and talking about yourself and buy our product, go through us for whatever. And so it's transitioned more into the content side and the helping side, and you're not so much pushing your product, it's how can we help the customer. For us, it's very much, we're an education company, and so what sort of things can we provide that help people from our graduates? What resources can we use to help extend their learning experience? And so there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of people, I'd say most people go out and they do all their research from the buying side. When we're talking about buying a product, they don't really want to be sold to. They want to go out, do their own research, come to a buying decision, and hopefully buy in a couple clicks.
Yes.
And we don't want to talk to anybody anymore, and that's just the reality of it. And so it's changed to where they're starting to tune out, marketing and sales messages, and it's more, let me go do my own research. And then on the other side, you have the whole social media, customer reviews side of things, and we're able to document, this company, it gets 4 stars, this one gets 3 stars. People are on social media saying, I had a bad experience with this company because of this. That brings their credibility down instantly, and you can affect 1,000 people. United Airlines incident, you can affect millions of people. And so it's kind of, and I like to look at it like the customer is almost your own salesperson now. I don't know if anybody else believes in that, but that's the way that I see it. They can be your greatest enemy or your greatest asset.
Absolutely.
You do a lot of work around analyzing the analytics so that you can get a grasp on who the customer is. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so with analytics, that's another tool that marketers have, and we're trying to figure out, and it's a whole nother ball game, but it's good because when we're talking about change, marketing is just, there's so many different things you can do now with the internet and technology, and so we have to figure out what's working, what's not working. Traditionally, you weren't able to do that as much. You'd have all this, campaigns and things that you were doing, and then you check your sales, but you won't be able to pinpoint exactly what things were working, what wasn't working.
Right.
But with the data, you can start to pinpoint, maybe not exactly, but you can get a better picture of what's going on, and you can say, well, if I had this Facebook post, I can see people clicking to our website. From our website, what are they doing? What pages are they going to, and then are they buying our products? Are they picking up the phone? You can see all that, and you can start to kind of change how you do things in real time, and you can adapt. And it's such a crazy time for marketing, but if you can use the data. And it was interesting that, and I don't know how much time we have here.
Oh, we've got another half a minute.
So I was interviewing an potential intern a couple weeks ago, and talk about how the education is changing too. He actually, his minor was data science. I think it was data science. And basically what that is interpreting and understanding analytics. And that wasn't, and I'm still somewhat new and young out of college, but that's something they're doing now is having people designated to interpreting all this data that we have, because there's so much going on the internet and we're trying to make sense of it all. So I thought that was kind of cool to see that that's what somebody's focusing on.
And then now you're the old guy.
And now I'm the old guy. So.
That's awesome. Well, we are moving to the end of the show, so we want to thank you, Kyle, for being here. We want to thank all of you for joining us. If you missed any portion of the program, or if you'd like to share it with others, you'll find the entire program loaded up to Tero's YouTube channel. Please join us again next Monday morning at 9:03 Central Time, where we're going to explore an invisible tool around working globally.
And now it's your turn. Share with us the things that you'd like to see us address in future shows. You can email your ideas to ideas@yourinvisibletooolbox.com. Also, meet us out there on the social media platforms, and if you want to get out there just based on our website, go ahead and click one of those icons. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, if you do, you'll be alerted to when future shows will air.
Absolutely. And this is a big week at Tero. On Thursday, May 4th, we are throwing a celebration, an open house, to celebrate the start of our 25th year of business and to launch the book. So please consider this announcement as your invitation to join us. You may stop by the Learning Center between 4 and 7 p.m. Do let us know you're coming so we can make sure we're prepared with enough beverages and copies of the book, which we will sign for you. Let Kim Greth know what your RSVP is. That's at KGRETH@Tero.com. And we hope you'll make the book, the show, the social media part of your Learning Minute Challenge. That's the best way we can prepare ourselves for the changes ahead. Thanks for joining us, and that's a wrap.